Hey people, injured here, 3v3, Estia Province, blue team. It's Venjitron as a Ravenous Alpha, tunneling commander with great mobility. Can also support and deal some pretty nasty damage. Begins in range combat but can get melee weapons alongside. zeetorq is a Chaos Lord, durable and destructive commander, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed on very good offense and disruption. Fights mainly in melee combat. Rounding out this blue team, Sentinel Enforcer is a Mekboy, teleporting commander that fights range combat. Really good damage output, can also support with structures, disrupt and repair. Useful little orc. Red team, it's Zato, plays an Inquisitor, offensive commander, lots of great control abilities, begins in melee combat but can get ranged weapons, a little bit of support on her too. Alongside, maximumbk is a warp spider Exarch, teleporting commander that fights range combat by default. Great for capping and harassing with some awesome control abilities too. And rounding off the team, another Imperial Guard player, Aguxyz, plays a Commissar Lord, good offense and support, fights in melee combat, begins with a refractor field and he's got triple Imperial Guardsmen on the field. maximumbk with some howling banshees, might see some group teleport shenanigans. Ouch, got Dire Avengers caught in retreat by a Chaos Lord and some Chaos Space Marines, trying to finish them off with Bolter Fire, but they cannot quite make it. What a cool scheme from zeetorq. Lots of cool Nurgle green-ish. Banshees are going to wipe, I think. Yes, they do. Tried to flank them around and get them out of trouble, I think, but he just ran into it. So, early loss for maximumbk. Not the end of the world, he can recover. 479, 491. Guardsman being chased down by the Chaos Lord, and he will tie them up all day long with his 1000 hit points and kill the weak ability, which he must have used at some point since he has lost energy, or rather spent it on something. Commissar Lord loses his shield, going after some Chaos Space Marines. Oh, there's Kill the Weak again. Shuriken Cannon on the field now for maximumbk. Will he replace his Banshees or will he go for another Dire Avenger squad? He's got to go for... Is he just going to go for another tier 1.5 unit? I think that would be a mistake since it puts his team on a back foot early on. Won't have the numbers on the field. Double shooters up for Sentinel Enforcer into a Pain Boy. So it looks like the Sluggers are going to get some love in this game. In fact, they're getting burners as well. So it looks like he's committed to using those Sluggers quite aggressively. Might see the battery pack and super tough beam and all sorts of things. Zato pushing off Venjitron's Ravenous Alpha on this west side. Zato's Inquisitor has Holy Brazier. Solid player Zato. Play with him quite often myself, but I don't think I've ever seen him play something that's not Space Marines, so we might be seeing him off his main here. We'll see how he does with his Guardsman. Looks like he had a pretty decent opening, although the Hormagaunts have taken the VP and they do have adrenal glands and they want to eat some Guardsmen in retreats, but can't quite manage it. Barb Strangler Warriors on the field. Really bad news for Guardsmen. It's all kicking off on this east side. Pain Boy in there. Sluggers in retreat alongside him because Banshees were moving in and they have the aspect of strength. The Pain Boy with the damage of a time weapon, I think it's still power melee even though it's not meant to be. Or was that fixed already? I can't remember if it's fixed for the next build or if it's already fixed. But yeah, he's not supposed to have power melee, it's just regular melee. Artillery spotters on the field for Aguxyz. Zato with some heavy weapon squad, heavy bolter action, running away from melee stuff though. Double Hormagaunts for Venjitron and he gets caught by the Barb Strangler. That instant suppression and a chunk of damage is such an awesome weapon, which is why it costs a whopping 25 power, the Barb Strangler. 456, 463. Stomp. Does it save the Sentinel? Looks like one of the Hormagaunts was not stomped and they're leaping after it, trying to finish it off, and they do finish it off. So, after a good push on this side, Zato loses his Sentinel. Does take out a Warrior Brood model, that's pretty good. Hammer of the Witches, of course, pretty good for trying to snipe those Synapse creatures. Power being bashed now by zeetorq. He has Raptors. Double CSM and Raptors is such a fun and aggressive build to use. Especially now that Raptors get that Power Fist and Melter Pistol in tier 2. You're not so susceptible to walkers and transports and stuff quickly. 456, 459. 2-to-1 cap for the blue team. Ravener Brood on the field for Venjitron. Must be in a tunnel somewhere since I can't select them. And Aguxyz with a heavy weapon squad of his own. So 2 heavy bolters on the red team and a shuriken cannon. So a lot of suppression. But they're not really keeping the blue team at bay so far. 456, 447. CSM lurking around the middle. And the combi flamer up for the Chaos Sword. A good choice on this map, I think, since you will need to cover a fair amount of ground on it. Banshee's going in for a flank, but Sentinel Enforcer does spot it quickly and gets away well. Raptors jumping in, suppressing everything close by, but they run into Banshees and look at the damage. Special attack from the Commissar Lord. They might in fact lose this squad. They do get away. Does this guy have a power sword? He does. And carapace armor. Raptors do get away. Slightly lucky to do so, but the CSM do not get away. Just overextending their zeetorq when his Orc ally was already off the field. Banshees coming into their own. They are so good at that. Jump squad jumps in, all of a sudden finds itself faced with the Banshees, and they just tear them apart. 456, 412. The Inquisitor's down on the west side. Needs a revive. Should be revived right now by the Warps for Exarch, who can teleport over. Heavy Weapon Squad and double Flamer Guardsman. Looks like Zato is committed to try and bash power here. We're having a tunnel behind the shot blocker. There's that Barb Triangle doing work. Double Hormigons coming in. But we do see the Heavy Weapon Squad suppressing them both. And a lot of fire going in there, literally from the flamers, but also the spotters weighing in with some lasgun fire there. Basic weapon damage was recently buffed, so they're a bit more effective in combat. Stormboy's on the field for Sentinel Enforcer. He's putting some love into the melee orcs here. Painboy with that awesome heal over time ability to support orky squads. Would only work on orc units though. They can't help out zeetorq with it. Tier 2 for zeetorq, having lost one of those CSM, and that is a painful loss. Losing your Marines always is. Oh, he used the execution buff on the Guardsman there, trying to catch that stuff bashing power, but turned out to be a waste. That's a bit of a hasty retreat there from Sentinel Enforcer, I think. I assume he didn't want to get caught by that suppression and then counter the bod. 438, 398. Here comes the Chaos Lord with that very, very annoying combi flamer. Raptors jumping, but they did not jump the heavy weapon squad. Must have not known it was there. But there's the Ravener jump or burrow strike. Using them in melee to try and get models, but they do have their Devourers. And look at this, 22 DPS piercing from each of those Devourers. That is a big chunk of piercing damage in tier 1 for Tyranids, especially alongside Toxin Sacs Termagants, which are not exactly slouches. To put that into context, Tactical Marines have 14.58 DPS per model. That is a lot of scary damage, and you can support that further with Synapse Aura from Ravener Alpha and range Synapse and stuff. You have the hardened carapace for the Ravener Alpha though. He's sneaking around. When a unit is underground like this, it counts as, well, acts as if it was infiltrated. You can't see it without a detector. 422, 391. Bob Strangler hits the spotters, but might want to hit this massive blob of guardsmen, and will do. But will they lose a model? Was that wise to stand there and wait for the next shot? Banshees standing in a ball of fire, most likely from the immolate, and they lose all of their models. And maximumbk has lost 2 Banshee squads in this game, and those ladies had their Exarch as well. That would have been painful. Had their Exarch and their aspect. Hormigons getting close to a loss, but Zato getting overrun here. Doesn't lose that squad though, those Hormigons did not attack them. So that was a massive let off. Also not attacking the spotters in retreat. Very odd. Should have taken 1, maybe 2 of those squads out there. Venjitron He goes for a Venom Brood, wants that range synapse up for those Raveners, and we are seeing the synapse aura for damage. So that's 25 plus 25% damage for the synapse aura, and I think it's plus 35% damage for the range synapse. I'm not sure how those two numbers interact with each other. I doubt it's additive. It's not going to be plus 60% damage, but it's going to be a hell of a lot. Those Raveners are going to be scary. And he might get the Corrosive, in fact he is getting a Corrosive Devourer for the Ravener Alpha. I've said it a few times, but I think this is the best ranged weapon in the game for a commander. It's plasma damage, this thing, and you can switch it to damage vehicles with corrosive shots. Wraith Guard on the field. Wow. And they just blew up a bunch of stuff, including some Banshees. The third Banshee squad on the field for maximum BK. Artillery spotters doing a good job with their artillery shell. Are they upgraded? I don't think they are. They do have an upgrade available every tier, which improves the damage of the basic mortar shell, and the tier 2 one also gives them access to the incendiary shell, which is a nice damage of a time one, which is actually pretty scary. 399, 346, Raptors jumping out of trouble, and they do get away. Can this heavy weapon squad hold back the Tyranids? The answer is no, because of that burrow strike there. 393, 346, some frantic action kicking off on the east side. Sluggers whacked by Ogrins. And Mekboy himself being chased down. In fact, Sentinel Enforcer loses his Storm Boys as well at some point, maybe in that same engagement, and loses his mech. That is a really, really bad engagement for Sentinel Enforcer. Did zeetorq not get anything else? Looks like he spent it power on the Armored Inferno and upgraded his Marines. 393, 334. There's killed a weak, and then he runs away. That might have been what killed the Banshees, in fact, not the Immolate. Ogren's catching him in retreat, but he does get away. Super heavy infantry, these guys. 1825 hit points of it. That makes them very, very resistant to piercing damage, and also gives them some resistance to regular melee damage, which heavy infantry does not get. They have heavy melee themselves, so they will damage all targets, but can sometimes struggle to get into combat. 393, 316. Plasma Grenade destroys the tunnel, and nope, see a power bash anytime soon. Chaos Dreadnought on the field for zeetorq. Not a huge amount of anti-vehicle apart from the Ogrins and the Wraith Guard, but there's plenty of heavy weapon squads on the field which could get a las cannon. These guys have an autocannon. 388, 316. Nob squad on the way for Sentinel Enforcer. Not a bad thing to recover with, but get some flash hits up as well. Seems to be when a player gets a Nob squad, when an Orc player gets a Nob squad, they just keep getting them. Well, it's like one is never enough. Get a Nob squad, then get a couple of flash hits. Shoot the crap out of stuff, send your Nob squad in. Level 2 heavy weapon squad there. Red team having a few pretty good engagements, especially regarding the Sentinel Enforcer. Looks like Aguxyz did a really good job using his execute buff and using his Ogrins to wipe stuff there. Heretics level 2 in retreat. There's Let the Galaxy Burn. Only really catches the artillery spotters though, and massive engagements in. More Ravener Brood dropped in by Venjitron. Huge engagement. A Rocks here, and that is a pretty much wasted Rocks. Hit the Wraith Guard pretty well, but also hit his allied double Hormagaunts pretty well. Ogrin's just about getting away there. Were they hit by it? I'm not sure. But I suppose they did succeed in scaring off the red stuff. Such a good nuclear Rocks as well. So much damage. And it drops relatively quickly after you see the marker for it. And of course knocks you over and stuff in retreat. So it's very, very annoying. Flamer Guardsmen doing their thing on generators. Maximum BK has so much red, but he's stuck in tier 2. 328, 316. The Inquisitor's so good at dealing with melee units. So many control abilities, and she's gone for the Excruciators, who just sort of sail on that Nob squad there, which is what was rooting them in place. And she's also gone for Liber Heresius, which gives her huge amount of energy, as you can see. 328, 316. I don't think it improves her energy regen though. I don't think it does. 328, 316, and the 1-to-1 cap. Been pretty intense back and forth stuff. Few good engagements for blue team, but can they? Few good engagements for red team, I should say. But now Sentinel has recovered with a Nob squad and some commandos. Getting a Nobledo gives them a rocket launcher. This guy used to run around with a big chain axe for some reason. But now he has a rocket launcher. Or has had for a while. 318, 316. There's the 2-to-1 for red. Happy to control their natural and the west contested for now, but Venjitron's making a push on it. Zato is there to oppose him. He's got some stormtroopers with assault kit, trying to focus down these synapse creatures, of course. There's a capillary tower behind this shock blocker. This massive tree will block fire. Big engagement here now. Gormagon's weighing in so much flame. Double Burrow Strike. He's actually using these guys in melee quite a lot. Not taking advantage of all that range firepower. Gormagon's might wipe here. There's a Holy Brazier. Holy Pyre from the Holy Brazier, I should say. That Holy Brazier is a 50 DPS power weapon as well, so it's really hurting that Venom Brood. Here's Aguxyz in from the flank, but it's kicking off mid as well. 283, 316. Heavy Weapon Squad whack there, I think. Nob Squad with Frenzy up, going after the poor little guardsman. Should be going after the artillery spotters, I think, instead. Bit of a waste to try and kill guardsmen with your Nobs. Then eats a Hammer of the Witches and will be forced off eventually by lasgun fire. Nobs are heavy infantry, by the way, so they do get some resistance to piercing damage, and they get a huge amount of hit points. 2,600 at level 1, over 5,000 hit points at level 4. 260, 316. Still has the awareness, the bash power here at zeetorq. A lot of players wouldn't have done that. We've got one generator at least. Fire Prism on the way for maximum BK. Zato floating huge amounts of wreck. So he should be repurchasing generators and stuff here. They have the contested power, or one of them, with a gen up on it. Commissar Lord wanted to try and maybe cap the or decap the blue team's natural, but couldn't. Big Tyranid block going in. Why does he get so close with his Venom Brood? That was very strange. Very, very strange. 242, 316. Not really seeing this. What is a very dangerous Tyranid range blob do its thing. He seems to throw his Ravener Brood into burrow strikes and then forces melee. I mean, it's only Flamer Guardsmen. Just shoot them down. A nice Techno Galaxy burn there. Backed up by some Daka. And that turned into a lot of dead Guardsmen. That was a burner bomb as well from the Commandos. Commandos are a dangerous little unit, tied up there by the Inquisitor, who does force them off. 242, 304. Raptors still around, jumping into combat and doing a good job on the Ogryns alongside Mark of Khorne Chaos Space Marines. Can they tap the Wraith Guard? No, Wraith Guard turned to get a volley. And the good thing those guys retreated there. That would have wiped them, I think. Fire Prism is up. Has that. Ouch. They took out a Raptor on. Look at the range that shot was ridiculous. Fire Prism has a dispersed shot, which you saw knock those Raptors and Mark of Khorne CSM over. Such a useful thing. Fire support with disruption. You also get a focus shot going though to toggle on. Manticore lives somehow. Raven Alpha does have corrosive shots activated. You can tell by the yellow circle. What can't catch the Manticore, and they full retreat out. 242, 279. Very lucky to survive is this Manticore. Rocket run! Caught the double shooters really badly and in fact wiped them out. Was it double shooters? I think it was. That's a good use of the nuke. Those are fully upgraded, I think, and I imagine at least level 2. So well done, whoever that was. I think it was Aguxyz, going by the amount of red he has left. 242, 261 Manticore strike would have been really nasty on that Nob squad, but they were already in retreat. This Chaos Dreadnought still has its default auto cannon, level 3 now, so it's doing more damage with it at least. Would have thought he'd go for Marcus Zinch by now, seeing as that fire prism's around and he can use it to mass suppress stuff. Baneblade on the field for Zato. So 1-to-1. Stormtroopers finishing a cap, but now being shot up, and there's that Ravana Alpha going with that Cross Devourer. Now they're infiltrated and they do get away. Level 4 Ravana. That's a singularity on the VP. Will throw everything around, even if it retreats. And almost wiped out the Venom Brood there. And a Baneblade. Now what does he do against that? He can't really fight it with his range bob, I think, since it will just use Demolisher Cannon and really hurt them. He needs zeetorq to flank inwards and get a Marcus Zinch Dreadnought, I think. Some rear arm hits. There's a Shimmer Orb. Did he use it to revive? I think he did. Such a great capping tool as well, so it could be really vital in this game. Capillary Tower goes down, which does give you a fair chunk of XP. Carnifex is up though, with a Venom Cannon and spikes all over it. 223, 252. Marcus Zinch Dreadnought it is. Could do with some repairs here. Heretics, will they oblige? Looks like they will. You can also use Mark of Khorne Worship to help your Zinch Dreadnought chase stuff, which is great. Got a Venom Cannon Carnifex, so we do see a fair amount of anti-vehicle from Venjitron and zeetorq. The Nob squad will also do a great job fighting that Baneblade, but they are pushing mid. So is the Ravana Alpha, in fact. 200, 252. Here are those Ogrins. Level 2. Over 2,000 hit points now. Mekboy using his Mega Rumbler for some reason there. A bit odd. Really wanted to disrupt Double Guardsman for some reason. 189, 252. Baneblade firing everything. There's the 2 Twin-Linked Heavy Bolters which were recently buffed. Demolisher Cannon, Mega Battle Cannon, and 2 Las Cannons. It really is just bristling with weapons. Eldritch Storm on retreating Tyranids, that is nasty. And Imperial Guard was just gibbed about 15 million guardsmen there. That was nuts. A double nuke, one from each team. That seemed to kill so many models. That Imperial Abyss, that was crazy. Seemed to be at least like 15 models went down. Maybe, I think it was it Zato's double guardsman getting caught there? That means he has much less repair support for this Baneblade. Because double guardsman Baneblade usually go hand in hand. 143, 252. Time to get a repair bunker over here, I think. Could support the fire prism as well. Ogrins, wow, took a big shot from the Carnifex there. This Venom Cannon will damage infantry with its splash pretty nicely, as you saw there as well. We do have a Lehman Russ with elite tank crew. I imagine that's going to be a vanquisher to better fight the Zinch Dreadnought, which is level 3, so this missile launcher is going to be pretty nasty. And also that Carnifex, and we have a great unclean one on the field. A greater demon for the Chaos faction, so you can worship this guy to great effect. He does have his heretics still around. Has some awesome abilities this guy, and can soak up a lot of damage with over 6,000 hit points of super heavy infantry armor. So they have some scary stuff here, blue team, but can they push against the Baneblade? on the natural. Will they even try to? Are they going to push through mid to the natural here? Contested on that west side. Massive, massive fight all over the map here. Avatar with the Wailing Doom. That Nob Squad locked in place by something there. Was that entangling web from the Orks to Exarch? Might have been. Down goes a fire prism. Baneblade shooting up some raptors. Nob Squad chasing off guardsmen again. Not very useful. Another Nob Squad though is fighting the Ogrins, who use their user ability and knock them flying. Doing a good job to that Nob Squad there, in fact. Considering they're a tier apart. Now getting some defensive buffs from the Avatar. There is the Wrath of Cain, I believe it's called. Knockback, suppression and damage, but the Nob Squad were a ways away. Baneblade being chased down here. People doing big chunks of damage with every hit. Rocket run though. Ouch. That is really painful. Might wipe 2 squads with the second run. No, you seem to place it strangely there. Venom Cunning Carnifex is done for. 66-215. Crazy, crazy engagements all round. Great Clean One should be able to waddle away unless those tanks chase him to the end of the earth. Looks like maximumbk lost a lot of stuff. Sentinel Enforcer still has his 2 Nob Squads. Double Lehman Russes, that is painful. Aguxyz done a good job supporting where he needs to, I think. Slightly better job maybe than Sentinel, but Sentinel has been recovering for quite a while after what must have been a very, very bad engagement at the end of Tier 1, or was it in Tier 2? I think it was Tier 2. Level 4 Markov Pawn CSM, look at that, 2196 hit points. It's not bad. Bunch of power melee damage and some decent mobility there. So, what the blue team do? Double Lehman Russes and Baneblade there. Looks like they're going to push mid, but it's not exactly a huge amount of distance to cover for the Lehman Russes to support there. Venjitron floating a lot. They just need stuff to kill tanks. That's all they need. Zeetorq is floating like mad here. What is he doing? Get some havocs up or something with las cannons. Ouch! Nasty combo by Zato. A sail into a demolisher cannon, but Frenzy was up. There's an Imperial Abyss from Zeetorq, the second one we've seen right on the Baneblade, and that is doing 200 heavy melee DPS in the center. Look at the damage it did to the Baneblade. Really struggled to get away. Another Eldritch Storm. Struggled to path away with that Lehman Russ there. Took so much damage, but there was nothing to follow it up. Nob Squad were forced off. Double Nobs were forced off, really. He just had to run them both in. They would have tore it apart. 35-207. Why is Zeetorq not buying anything? Does he want Terminators? Is that is he trying to save his red? Could get double Chaos Predators here. This is very strange to me. Level 10 Chaos Lord, 1751 hit points with the Demonic Visage. But can he finish the cap? He does not. That was so close. Marco Zinch's Dreadnought is level 4. Stormtroopers level 3. Another one level 1. Demon Russes of course have that passive 35% damage resistance to them to reflect the superiority of the Imperial Guard tanks, I suppose. Grant Kimmel goes down. That was a sloppy loss, I think. Ouch, down goes the Chaos Dreadnought as well. Big losses for Zeetorq. He does have a Chaos Predator now. Look at this though. A really annoying Walks to Exarch. Yes, he does have Entangling Web, and the Shimmer Orb is up. Immunity from ranged damage. Lasts a long time as well. A lot of people are annoyed about this ability. Use it to decap and gets away. Raptors aimlessly jumping. Why do these guys not have melter guns by now as well? They are so awesome with melter guns, and at level 4 they would be doing huge amounts of damage. Jump on the rear armor of one of these guys, melter bomb rear armor, and just shoot it down. Then retreat out. You've done your job. 8-2-0-7. Looks like the red team are going to take this. They have a 2-1. Raptors will be torn apart trying to capture it. zeetorq floated so much for so long. That was really weird. But hey, found it difficult, I think, with Sentinel Enforcer's losses. Recovered reasonably well, but didn't really get a chance to dominate with those knobs. He did get one of them to level 3, so they must have killed a bunch of stuff, but they didn't get the Baneblade. Kasrkin on the field late game for Aguxyz. Double Ravener Broods for Venjitron. Let's look at the commanders. Level 5 Ravener Alpha here. All kitted up as we saw the Chaos Lord level 10 trying to decap had Dominic Visage, Armored Inferno and Combi Flamer. Mekboy level 5. Mega Rumbler Super Tough Beam to support his knobs. Inquisitor level 6. He actually done really well. Some good combos from Zato with his snares and control abilities and Manticore strats and stuff like that. Level 7 Warp Spider Exarch, Entangling, Enhanced and Shimmer Orb, and a level 6 Commissar Lord. And Aguxyz did well, had that really good engagement versus Sentinel and got some good mileage out of these Ogrins. There you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.